Okay, so imagine this. You're curled up with a good book, one of those with actual pages. And just as you get to the good part,
Yeah.
boom, your phone just explodes with notifications, concentration gone, thanks to, well, technology.
Sounds about right,
Mhm.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's the story of our
It
lives.
really is. And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive today into the science of attention. We got this article, How to Avoid Distractions and Enhance Focus. And it really digs into how technology is, well, impacting our ability to think.
It really is ironic. We develop all these incredible tools, all this powerful technology, and yet it seems like we're losing the very human ability to just focus and concentrate.
Yeah, it's like we're trading our minds for microchips. But before we go any further, maybe we can break down how our attention actually works.
Well, the article uses this really helpful analogy. It compares attention to a mental flashlight.
Okay.
Like we have this beam of focus that we can shine on different tasks.
Okay, I like that. So what happens when we get distracted?
Well, imagine someone keeps bumping into you, shaking that flashlight all around. Oh, that's essentially what's happening with all these notifications and pings and the constant distractions. They just pull our attention away from whatever we're trying to focus on.
And this article actually mentions some pretty crazy statistics about how often we're getting interrupted, right?
Oh, absolutely. It cites research that suggests that the average person checks their phone 150 times a day.
Wow.
That's like every 6 minutes. No wonder we can't even hold a thought for more than a few
Every
seconds.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's almost as if we're training ourselves to become goldfish.
Yeah, and the impact on our attention spans is, well, pretty alarming. Studies have shown that the average attention span with screens is now just 47 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is officially terrifying. I mean, what can you even DO in 47 seconds? It takes longer than that to just choose what to watch on, like, streaming services.
Exactly, and it's not just limited to our interaction with screens. This affects our ability to focus on everything, like our work, our relationships, even just having a conversation.
So is this a new problem? I mean, were people always this easily distracted, or is this something new?
Well, of course, distractions have always existed. Think about daydreaming in class or getting lost in a good book. Those are internal distractions. But what we're facing now is a whole new level of external distractions, and it's primarily driven by, well,
I
technology.
feel like we've gone from a gentle rain to a full-blown hurricane of distractions.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. This constant barrage of stimuli is changing how our brains actually function. We're becoming accustomed to this fragmented way of thinking, just jumping from one thing to the next without ever really diving deep.
Okay, so if our brains are basically being rewired to crave constant distraction, how do we fight back? Is it even possible to regain control of our attention in this crazy world?
Well, the article does offer some hope. It outlines a number of practical strategies and techniques we can use to actually strengthen our focus. And it's not just about willpower, it's about understanding how our minds work and learning to work with them, not against them.
All right, so spill the beans. What are some of these strategies? I'm ready to reclaim my attention.
One of the most popular techniques is something called the Pomodoro Technique.
Pomodoro, like the tomato.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually named after those kitchen timers shaped like tomatoes.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does a tomato timer help me focus?
Well, it's all about structure and breaking your work down into manageable chunks. So you set a timer for 25 minutes of focused work followed by a short 5-minute break.
Okay.
And then after 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, like 15, 20 minutes.
So it's like interval training, but for your brain.
Yeah, precisely. It helps you maintain concentration and avoid burnout. And those breaks are crucial. They give your mind a chance to rest and recharge so you can come back to your work feeling refreshed and focused.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful. What are some other strategies?
Well, the article also talks about creating no-interruption zones.
So, like a fortress of solitude for my mind.
Exactly. It can be a physical space, like a dedicated workspace where you put away your phone and any other distractions, or it can be a digital space using apps that block distracting websites or limit your social media time.
I guess that's the ironic thing about technology. It can be both the problem and the solution.
Absolutely. It's all about how we use it. And the article also emphasizes the importance of mindfulness practices, like meditation.
Oh, meditation. I've heard a lot about that lately. Does it really help with focus?
Well, think of it like doing push-ups for your brain,
Also,
literally training your mind to focus. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a difference. You can focus on your breath or use a guided meditation app.
so you're saying that instead of letting my mind run wild with a million thoughts, I can actually learn to tame it and
Hmm.
direct my focus where I want it to go.
Yeah, that's the idea. It takes practice, but the more you do it, the better you get at recognizing when your mind is wandering. and gently guiding it back to the present moment.
Okay, that's fascinating. So we've got these practical techniques like the Pomodoro Technique and creating no-interruption zones.
Right.
And then we have these more internal strategies like mindfulness and meditation.
Mhm.
It seems like a two-pronged approach, right? Working on both our external environment and our internal state of mind.
Exactly. And the article also highlights some interesting trends in the workplace that are aimed at addressing this, attention crisis.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, there's a growing movement toward what are called right to disconnect laws.
Right to disconnect. What does that even mean?
These are laws that aim to protect employees from being expected to be constantly connected outside of work hours.
Oh.
It's about recognizing the importance of work-life balance and giving people the right to unplug and recharge without feeling pressured to respond to emails or messages.
Wow, that's amazing. So companies are actually starting to take this seriously.
Yeah, more and more companies are realizing that a burnt-out employee is not a productive employee. So they're starting to create policies that encourage people to disconnect after work hours and to take breaks during the day to clear their heads.
It's almost like they're realizing that humans are not machines. We need time to rest and recharge.
Precisely. And there's also a growing recognition that the way we design workspaces can have a huge impact on our ability to focus.
So ditch the open plan office and go back to individual offices with doors.
Not necessarily. It's about creating spaces that are conducive to focused work. This could mean providing quiet areas, noise-canceling headphones, or even just encouraging people to take breaks and get some fresh air.
It seems like there's a shift happening, a move away from this always-on culture to a more balanced and humane approach to work.
Absolutely. And this shift is being driven by a number of factors, including increased awareness of the negative impacts of stress and burnout, the rise of remote work, and a growing demand for work-life balance.
It's encouraging to see these changes taking place, but I can't help but wonder if it's enough. I mean, our kids are growing up in a world that's even more distracting than the one we grew up in. What are we doing to prepare them for this onslaught of distractions?
That's a great question, and fortunately, there are some positive developments in the realm of education as well.
Oh, good. Tell me more.
Well, some schools are starting to incorporate activities that are specifically designed to boost focus and attention management skills.
Okay.
Things like mindfulness exercises, movement breaks, and even just reducing screen time in the classroom.
That's fantastic. So instead of just throwing technology at kids, we're actually teaching them how to use it responsibly and to develop the mental skills they need to navigate this digital world.
Absolutely. We need to help them understand that technology is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
It's like we're giving them a toolbox, but we also need to teach them how to use the tools properly and safely.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might just end up hurting themselves.
Exactly. And we need to teach them that their minds are their most valuable asset. They need to protect their attention, to nurture it, and to use it wisely.
This has been such an insightful conversation. We've covered so much ground. The science of attention, the impact of technology, practical strategies for improving focus, and even the role of education and the workplace. It's a lot to take in, but I'm feeling hopeful. It's clear that this is a problem we can address, both individually and collectively.
Absolutely. We're not powerless in the face of distraction. We have the tools, we have the knowledge, and we have the power to reclaim our attention and create a more mindful and productive world.
Well said. We've talked a lot about external factors like technology and the workplace, all those things that are constantly vying for our attention. But I think it ultimately comes down to personal responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. We can't just blame our phones or our bosses for our inability to focus.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices about how we spend our time and energy.
Right.
So what are some practical tips for taking ownership of our attention?
Well, I think it starts with awareness,
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to how you're feeling when you're using technology. Are you feeling stressed, overwhelmed, anxious? If so, it's probably a sign that you need to take a break.
So it's like checking in with yourself,
All right.
seeing how your mind and body are reacting to all the input.
Exactly. And it's about being intentional with your technology use. Before you pick up your phone or open a new tab, ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish here? Is this really how I want to be spending my time?
It's so easy to fall into those mindless scrolling habits,
Yeah.
just kind of zoning out.
It is. But the more we can bring awareness to those habits, the more power we have to change them.
So awareness is the first step. What else can we do?
Setting boundaries is crucial.
Oh.
Decide how much time you want to spend on certain apps or websites each day, and then stick to it. You can use those productivity apps we talked about earlier to help you stay on track, or simply use the built-in features on your phone to set time limits.
That's a great idea. I'm all about using technology to fight technology.
Exactly. And remember those no interruption zones we talked about? Those are really crucial for creating space, for focused work and deep thinking.
It's like giving your mind permission to truly unplug and recharge.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of simple things, like turning off notifications, putting your phone on airplane mode,
Huh.
or even just putting it in a drawer.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
less accessible those distractions are, the less power they have over us.
But let's be real. Sometimes it feels like we're fighting a losing battle. You know,
Yeah,
the world is designed to distract us, to keep us hooked.
you're right. It's a constant challenge, but that's why it's so important to develop those mental muscles, to train our minds, to focus and resist those temptations.
So it's a combination of external strategies, like managing our environment and setting boundaries,
Yeah.
and internal strategies,
Right.
and mindfulness and meditation.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach to reclaiming our attention.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how attention works
Yeah.
and the challenges we're facing in this digital age.
And remember, it's not just about individual effort. It's also about creating a culture that values focus and deep work.
Yeah, right? We need to change the conversation, to move away from this glorification of busyness and multitasking.
Exactly. Let's start celebrating those who can truly focus, who can dive deep into a task and produce meaningful work.
It's about quality over quantity.
Absolutely. And it's about reclaiming our time and attention so we can focus on what truly matters, our relationships, our passions, our purpose.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of attention, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
Your attention is your most valuable resource. It's what allows you to learn, to grow, to connect, to create. Protect it, nurture it, and use it wisely. Because in the end, your attention is what makes you you.
That's a powerful message. And I think it's a perfect way to end our conversation.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay focused.